Happy Easter. It's the beginning of April, or thereabouts, and I thought I would look at some of my seed starting setup. Here are some of the seed packets that I've been sowing this year. You can see that I kind of had a color scheme without really noticing that I was doing it. This is just what popped out to me this year. I am very excited that it's springtime. I have my spring tablecloth out. It has swallows and actually correct daffodils. And I have these Shakespeare floral placemats. And this is where I keep a bunch of my seeds in a little basket that was my grandmother's on the table. And this is probably not where I should keep it because there is a heat vent down there, but I just like to see them. So here are some more that I'm doing. Calendula, that's my favorite calendula. I have not started these yet. Actually, these are some of the ones that I will be starting outside, or maybe that might be winter sowing next year. I have some of this morning dew coming up in the winter sowing. Those I have upstairs, and these antique shades, and the Cracker Jack, and the Cosmos there, the lemonade ones. But I just thought these were really pretty. I'm very excited about the cardoons. These I think I might put on the, what would that be? The west side of the house? It's westish. So it doesn't follow the compass exactly. These get really big. Not really sure how they'll look, but I've seen these in British gardens and they look very architectural. I'm really looking forward to stock because we had this in my bouquet for our wedding, and I'm just looking forward to the scent, but coming from flowers in my garden. So let's go upstairs. I have not grown things indoors before, so this is all new to me. And I would have shown a little bit more of the process of setting this up and how things looked initially, although it's still early on, I suppose. But actually last year I had tried to do a little bit of seed sowing inside, and it had been so disastrous that I just thought I would hide the fact that I was growing stuff inside until I seemed like I was going to have maybe a little bit more of a success and not as much of an embarrassment. So here, actually before I go into it, I have lights from Amazon. These are the Barina 4-foot lights, and I have a 4-foot by 24-inch rack with 5 shelves on it. So I'm just going to go through and say what I'm growing and how it's going. These are viola antique shades. I started a lot of violas this year outside in my winter sowing, but these ones, I don't know, things were going so well with other things, I decided to start some more violas indoors just in case it means I have blooms earlier. So you can see that these are starting to put up their first true leaves. And I did devote a little bit of space, 4 6-packs to those. This is Celosia Asian Garden. So these were started on, I think I say it's like the 20th of March or the 28th. There is a train going by, so excuse the noise. Some Orlea, and that was the 23rd of March. You can see it has some of its first true leaves, which are carroty looking. I just pricked out these teeny tiny little purple bellvine seedlings. I have them going in this little humidity setup right there, and I think I started these around, I would say probably around the 23rd of, or actually probably a little bit later, but I got them at the same time as I got the Orlea seeds in the mail from Select Seeds. And I think the germination is sped up a fair bit with this heat mat that these are all on. I have some jewels of opar, and rainbow coleus. I have a couple different things of those that are kind of scattered around right now. Other seedlings under a humidity dome simply because I don't have enough trays right now. I need to go out and get more. I have snapdragons in a larger tray back there, and I'm just pricking those out into cell trays as they come up. So I have 2 6-packs of flame snapdragons, which are about a foot tall each. This is this African Thunbergia. This is so weird. I started these, they were some of the first seeds that I started, and they are so slow to germinate. The ones that are up now are actually the ones that I started in a Ziploc bag method and then transferred, and I can tell that because they're in the sides of the tray cells. And these other ones, they've just been like this, just kind of trying to push up the leaves forever. I put this one back under a humidity dome just in case it helps those pop up a little faster, and I think that they have slightly moved. I have some dahlia cuttings that I'm propagating. I just took those yesterday. Actually, I took 2 of those on this side just now. I think these must be some of my favorite seedlings that I have this year. This is stock. This is 10-week stock from Renee's. And I did seed this rather heavily, and then I have these, this is a 6-pack, but it's like twice the size, so they have a little more room, and I did put 2 in each cell. And I did go through and I selected them for what I think will be the doubles. So those were the ones with the distinct leaves. And then I just love these bullseye cherry geraniums. These seeds are from Swallowtail. And look at those beautiful, beautiful leaves. I just love them. The cotyledons are dying back on a lot of my seedlings right now that I started at the beginning of March. So it's kind of interesting. The ones that are dying back that have some red in them or purple, are very red as they die back. So here's some more of those bullseye cherry geraniums, and then a random Cracker Jack marigold because I just didn't want to see an empty cell, and I had one popping up. These are cherry caramel phlox, and they look pretty good. Not really sure where I'm going to put most of these things, but isn't that the fun of growing stuff? I'm very excited about these ones. These are dahlia seedlings and the seeds are from Paula's Dahlias. She has a, like, sort of isolated, I think, she's not like in an urban area farm where she just farms only double dahlias, and then she's very picky about going through the seeds and getting ones that look really good. And she doesn't sell a lot of them, and this year I finally got a packet of these seeds. I'm really excited about it. They are very hardy. They have super strong stems, kind of thick leaves, very sturdy and robust. I would say pretty much all of them have red stems except for these 2 back here. This one I was worried about losing. Sorry, I hit the lights. This one I was worried about losing, but it seems to have snapped back. I think that it was just this particular cell was a little underwatered at first. I didn't realize that these larger cell packs, it's 4, they didn't have good drainage. They have 1 slit at the bottom, and then what would happen is the water wasn't really easily absorbing into the cells, and also it wasn't draining well, so I put some more slits on the sides, and that seems to have helped. One thing that I regret doing, though, is that I was up-potting these from 6-packs, and I used Miracle-Gro potting soil. I just had the Miracle-Gro potting soil sitting around from my winter sowing, and I used it here, and you can tell it's rough, and I don't think it's been particularly nutritious. What's odd is that these 3 were the fastest growing ones. They were much bigger than this tray, which was too small to up pot when I was doing the up potting of those ones. And so this is in a coast of Maine, just seed starting mix, and they're actually bigger now. than these ones that I up-potted, and they look healthier and they seem happier. So I think on a nice day, once I get some more trays, I will up-pot these again, and I will use a Coast of Maine potting mix instead. The quality is just a lot different. I mean, particularly these ones, they look stunted now compared to these ones, and these were much bigger than those ones. So sort of an interesting little experiment. I have these aluminum trays, which I'm using to just put the cell trays in as they need to be watered, because I'm up here on our second floor and there's a bathroom over there, but it's not really a great place to be dumping water out of trays. So I have some BT granules in here too to control fungus gnats. I've only seen one because I had forgotten to put the BT granules in. I put them in, I put up the little sticky pads, and that one fungus gnat disappeared. So hopefully I won't get any more. Oh, and it was 25 seeds or so from Paula's dahlias. I chose to do them in 3 separate ways. I did some of them in the Ziploc bag method, which then I transferred into cell trays. And then I did some in the larger, just open tray on the heat mat, which I transferred over. And then I did some of them in my winter sowing containers, because that's how I've traditionally grown dahlias from seed. Wanted to make sure that I actually got some success. And those do seem to be coming up, but they're way behind these. And I wish that I hadn't done them that way in hindsight, but I was trying to hedge my bets and make sure that I actually had some success from these seeds. But in the future, if I grow more seeds from her, I'll definitely just start them inside. Okay, I've moved this tray down. Here I have some marigolds. These are French marigolds, and these are from seeds that I collected last year from marigolds that keep self-seeding themselves in the front of our house. And as I'm going to be trying to do a few more edible things, hopefully in a raised bed, one of those water trough things, I want to have some of these to put in around them right away. I have some more of that stalk. This is still the 10-week stalk. Back there is also 10-week stalk. And then I have a bunch of alyssum, and this is royal carpet, I think. I really wanted to get oriental nights, but I couldn't get the seeds. They just didn't happen to be at any of the suppliers where I was making orders. I didn't feel like spending shipping just to get one seed packet, although I might order some in bulk from Outside Pride just for the season and for the next couple years. They've actually been, let me see if I can find one. They've actually been trying to put on buds, and they've been blooming just a little bit, which is kind of sweet. They are actually stuffed into these 4-packs pretty densely, but I usually grow alyssum like that, so I think it'll be okay. They are looking a little bit weird because their cotyledons are also dying back, so that's why they have that coloring on them, I think. Unless someone wants to tell me why things would be getting a red color under lights. I don't know. It might be some weird thing that I just don't know about. But so far the plants seem okay. These marigolds are really getting rooted in, as are the alyssum, and see what else had a lot of, the stalk actually has a lot of roots right now. A storm has just started up. I thought there was another train going by, but I see a little bit of hail and sleet. Anyways, down here I have some bacopa. This is the Snowtopia, so the white type. I've never grown this before because it's one of those things that you need to start early under lights. These were all multi-seed pellets, so they are still in 6-packs because they haven't really put on that much of a root system. It's interesting, these ones look better, like bigger than the other ones. They're sort of slow growing. Anyways, because they were multi-pelleted seeds, I was constantly picking them apart and picking the teeny tiny little plants and kind of putting them in their own parts of the cell. I am hoping that I will have these grown up and maybe put them in hanging baskets along the porch, because apparently they do well with shade. I have a couple different cosmos. I have some Gloria cosmos. Those are larger cosmos, and one of them is pretty big. And then I have 2 lemonade cosmos. Again, these don't look that great because I kind of messed up by initially seeding them into the Miracle-Gro potting soil instead of the seed starter, because I was up potting things when I seeded these, and I figured why not just make them out of the potting soil. But having the seed starting soil does make a difference, because I actually lost a couple from damping off, and I kept having to put more seeds in to try to fill those cells. Over here I have zinger hibiscus. So if you drink lemon zinger tea, it's these plants apparently that create the calyxes that you can make that tea out of. I have, I think, 6 of them, and they're about 7 inches now. I'm really excited about these. I hope that they'll have been started early enough. I started them at the beginning of March, and hopefully they'll have been started early enough to bloom, and we'll be able to make some tea from them. And I have some cherry bush tomatoes here. They are not happy with me. I kind of see what people are saying when they say that growing vegetables are a little more iffy. I'm not sure if it's coming through here, but they are turning a bit yellow. And the original leaves are dying back, which is to be expected, but some of the permanent leaves have also gone over. I think, again, that it's this terrible Miracle-Gro potting soil. I think they also probably want to be fertilized. They are not root bound in these as far as I can tell, or at least the roots aren't coming out the bottom. But I'll be completely honest, I don't know if anyone feels like this besides me, but I hate the smell of these plants. Like when you brush against them and you touch them, oh, they smell just like raw tomatoes, and I just don't like that smell. I am growing these for my husband, so when he's griddling outside, he can just grab a cherry tomato. But anyways, might not grow those again. Back here I have some Cracker Jack marigolds. These are a larger marigold, and they're yellow and orange. I would have liked some of the large marigolds that people use for, what is the holiday that comes from India where they use the marigolds? I don't know, but I always love those marigolds. But I think that those seeds come from Johnny's, and I just don't want to spend that much on shipping. Back here to look at these. These are some coleus that I pricked out yesterday or the day before. This is rainbow coleus. The true leaves will start showing different colors soon, hopefully. This is Silene, what is it? Carmine Sabella. So it's a Sabella series. Silene, which is corncockle, right? This is sort of a trailing plant that you would use in hanging baskets. I'm excited about it. It's a very bright pink. And then I have some more stock. These are stock, what are they called? Quartet Sonata. And they're looking really good. And then, oh, I'm so excited about these. These are cardoons. And don't they look kind of Jurassic? I don't know. So these are going to look like giant thistles. And those ones, it's not that those didn't come up. I think that's just as many seeds as I did. I was only going to do 1 tray, but then I couldn't bear to throw them away. So those are going to have to be up potted soon. 1 little root coming out. And then I have some cantaloupe calendula. And last year, those cantaloupe calendula that I seeded, I don't know, just something happened with all of those seeds. I had so much success with them the year before, and they're supposed to be some of the easiest seeds to grow, but they didn't do anything for me. So this year I have, I think it's 2 trays in here, and I'll do more outside, but at least I'll have this many. On this side, this is a hydrangea that I grabbed for my mother-in-law. We did when we were at Costco. But then Steven tore his bicep moving a rock in the garden, actually. Not by my request, just for funsies. And so this didn't get brought to her on Easter. It was drooping a little bit today, but I just gave it some water, so it should bounce back. These are my dahlia tubers that I've been waking up. These are plants that I grew from seed. Oh gosh. 2024 initially, and then last year was their second year. And then I overwintered the tubers again, so they've been overwintered a couple times. And I did just take cuttings from them yesterday because I didn't have cell packs for them to go in before that. Otherwise, I do tend to like to take them when they're little nubs like that instead of cutting them off of larger amounts, because I figure it works really well that way, and then also the dahlia hasn't had to put a lot of energy into plant material that you're just throwing away. Anyway, so they're a little cut up, but they were huge. They were overgrowing lights. This one, there was only one sprout, and you can see I took that, and around that spot we'll get some more sprouts. So actually this one and this one, my hands are so dry, were ones that I started from seed last year, so I guess they're not the OG dahlias. My husband actually dug these and tagged them, like labeled them last fall for me because I wasn't feeling very well. And I guess he did his best, seeing as we hadn't labeled them before. So we think this is a purple one, like magenta. This one we thought was one that we had named after him, but this is not how the plant looked at all. So we renamed it. This one is one that I'm calling City of Fire. We think it is. And this is a bicolor single dahlia with orange on the outside and then red in the middle. It's really pretty. This is just a single red one, and this took a whole month to wake up and give us those sprouts. I was ready to throw it out. I'm glad that I didn't, because it had a really nice habit and a nice red flower that was a little different than the other ones. And then this one we were calling yellow, but it's really more of a peach color, like a really nice peachy, pink, orange-ish, like sunset kind of color. If you look at pictures of Bishop's Children dahlia seedlings, you'll see what this really looks like if it comes back and it looks like that again. So I have so many more dahlia tubers in my basement. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them, but these were the ones that I thought were special enough to wake up inside and take maybe a couple cuttings from, so that I have multiples of those same ones. These awful looking things are the mahogany splendor hibiscus cuttings that I took in November or the end of October, I forget which one. So a couple of them I had taken kind of long cuttings, and then initially, like probably in December, I cut some of them and then rooted them from the cuttings, and I got more compact cuttings. So these ones look a little better. But these ones, I could have cut them here and then rooted them, but I don't know, they looked okay. A couple of them didn't look so good at that point. When I potted these up in March, they were like a little bit on the brink of death. So they had been in water from November to March, growing roots, just living. But at that point, they were kind of ready to go. So I got them into some soil, and they don't look very pretty now, but this seed is about, I don't know, $15 delivered from Gardener's Supply, or more than that from Johnny's. And I had bought it 2 years in a row, and last year I realized I really didn't need to buy the seed again, because you really can overwinter the cuttings really easily in a vase or a glass on your counter. I just have it under like my cabinet lights in my kitchen, and it does just fine. This is some English thyme that I cut on it the other day, and then I put it in some soup, but this was like from a Christmas dinner that we did. I always stick a little piece in water, and then we end up with some different plants. So because I wasn't feeling well in the fall, I bought some daffodils, hyacinth, and I think it was just daffodils and hyacinth bulbs on clearance. So spring bulbs, actually alliums too, but I wasn't able to use them in here. Anyways, a little bit ago, I would say like in the middle of March, and I potted them up I had them in a vestibule that we have of our house that's unheated. So this container, I think we got it at a thrift shop, and there's actually 3 half milk jugs like cut off here with drainage holes in them with soil, and then I put this moss down so that you can't see all of that. And these have been coming up. I actually have a couple of these containers. Here's one right here. This one I've been cutting the blooms off of and bringing downstairs because it was sprouting at all different times. Like these ones might still give me some blooms, but I think I'll be able to still plant these outside. One that looks like a mess, but this bloomed kind of at the same time, so I cut those blooms off when they fell over, and I'll be bringing this outside to plant in the garden at some point so I can get this out from under my lights. Here's those little purple bell vine seeds germinating. When their first little leaves are up, that's when I prick them out. What I've learned is that really some of these seeds put down a pretty significant root system before they do much above the soil, which is very interesting. Anyways, that's what I'm growing inside. I'm hoping that our last frost will be sometime this month, if we're lucky, as we've been in previous years. Technically, I think the USDA says that our last frost is at the beginning of May at some point, but usually I can get things out in the garden a couple weeks before that. And I know that alyssum and I think stock and a couple of the other things that I'm growing are frost hardy. I know that the Orlea is. I'm not sure how frost hardy they are when they're seedlings being planted, but I usually push it a little bit to try to get things out. My plan is to harden them off on a cloudy day or on our covered porch so that I don't have to bring them in and out of the house a bunch of times, because that seems like a pain in the butt to bring them from the second floor all the way down and then back for, I don't know, like a week or so to harden them off. We don't have that much sun, so we're just kind of in part shade at best, and I think that that will help. So if you had a more blazing sun, maybe you wouldn't be able to do that, but maybe this will be one advantage of not having that much sun. Anyways, thanks for watching this. Let me know what you're growing in your grow room if you have one, or what seeds you've selected. I have so many seeds that I want to sow this year, and so many plants that I want to grow. I was a little tired and not feeling so well at the end of last season, but I feel a lot better than I did then, and I am ready for this new gardening season. See you in the next video. Bye.